Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about why shorts are in trouble, how Goldman Sachs won AMC, Elon Musk obliterating the shorts, and many more in this video. First, we're taking a look at this. The shorts are in trouble from the news. AMC showed significant year-over-year gains in attendance, margins, and cash flow, boosted by rising per patron spending and effective cost control. The period marked a visible turnaround for AMC. You have to realize the first to exit loses the least. So we talked about the fundamentals recently. For those of you who haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. But essentially what we have seen is how AMC has drastically improved itself. We talked about this even prior to the earnings being released because we have seen how AMC has effectively changed the way they operate into a more efficient scale. And that's obviously going to help them raise more money. You add on top of that with, again, the reduction in debt, you add on that with the rise in box office, you'll get a company that's operating extremely well. And that's AMC right now. But a big thing about this is precisely because AMC is showing good fundamentals, we're now seeing a big turnaround, a big change, not just for AMC, but for the whole investor space for AMC. What we're looking at is, of course, how the retailers who have been buying have, again, still are buying, but now are increasing. The confidence is at another all-time high. Previously, it was already high, right? Investors, the apes knew that we know what we hold. And so we weren't shaken by the news articles, but it doesn't hurt us to see even better news for AMC. But then we talk about how it encourages even more investors to buy into AMC because we're seeing now how institutions want AMC. We're seeing right now how pretty much everyone views AMC as a value investment. And so that's how it's changing around for AMC. And then the big focus here, which I want everyone to remember this because it still be relevant throughout this whole video, which is first to exit loses the least. And I'm sure it's pretty easy to understand for those of you who don't know, essentially because if you are the first short seller to leave, you get to get out at $50, $100, or $500, as opposed to the ones who are holding on to this for the longest will have to end up paying $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 for per share of AMC. And that's why we're seeing shorts rushing to exit even at this current price, despite the fact they've said all this time that they are obviously not shorting AMC, that they are, not creating synthetics, when we know that those are obviously false. If you want to take a look at how well AMC is going to continue to do and even the current position, you can see AMC generated $88.9 million in positive free cash flow last quarter. They will do more of the same this quarter. Subscription aren't realized during this period, so they didn't count towards profit, but did towards free cash flow. If they did it, it would have been profitable. They also ramped up capex and repairs last Q. AMC will be profitable all of 2026. And so if you want to understand how AMC will perform this year, but more importantly, even going into next year, this is essentially it. You have to realize is that AMC is no longer the meme stock that people associate itself with. AMC is a company that has been improving their fundamentals year by year, quarter by quarter. And they're doing so not just by hoping that the box office is doing well, but rather optimizing their business structures so that even when the box office is not doing well, they're able to perform. But of course, if the box office is going to do even better, then they will benefit even more from it. And we are right now in the market where the box office is doing extremely well. You can see we are on pace to end the month at $2 billion domestic box office. And so what we are looking at is whether you're looking at the outlook for AMC, whether you're looking at the outlook for the box office, you're all looking at bullish projections. AMC is only going to grow and grow and grow, and so is the box office. And so we are growing at a pace never seen before, and that's why the shorts are worried, because the quicker we grow, the more capital that's going to attract. When we attract more investors buying into AMC, whilst it may not have an immediate price effect action, what it does do is it will force the shorts to create more synthetics. And we've talked about this in terms of understanding when you're forcing the short sellers to create more synthetics, not only are you speeding up the process of the squeeze because you are running out the liquidity of these short sellers, but also you're increasing the floor price, you're increasing the exit price of AMC because they have created more synthetics. And it just means that when it comes time to cover these shares, they'll have to cover even more shares, which they'll have to spend even more money to do so. And that's why, we see this as a snowball effect. And that's why the shorts have always continuously tried to force the retail investors out of this. Is why we always see them trying to force apes to sell their AMC shares. And you can see here, Goldman Sachs says now is the time to buy meme stocks. Makes a lot of sense. As far as I understand, Goldman Sachs went net long in AMC following closure of December 24th forwarding agreement. And so that is Goldman Sachs' interest and now aligns with AMC apes. So there's a lot more to this. What we're looking at is, of course, and going back is why I said we have to remember the first to exit loses the least, because we are already seeing how there are certain institutions who are slowly and quietly, more importantly, accumulating AMC shares. So Goldman Sachs is a great example. The reason why we say this is because we have seen them selling their short positions, selling their put positions, and buying into calls and also shares of AMC. And so we're seeing how they're flipping their stance from a short stance to a long stance. And so this is what we talked about with how firms and shorts have been quietly trying to exit and accumulate AMC. However, one thing is that we have to know is that whilst I do agree that we are seeing in terms of what's being released to the public that Goldman Sachs' interest now aligns with AMC apes, I still do believe that there are a lot of firms, and I think even would put Goldman Sachs in this, where they've created so much synthetics already that just by going long on AMC wouldn't actually allow them to go net positive. What it will do is, of course, mitigate some of their losses. And so for them, ultimately, they don't want AMC to squeeze, because if they do, we won't be seeing a constant spoofing on AMC by Goldman Sachs, which have shown in the past. But it is still showing the fact that if they're letting go of their short positions and going long, is that they are scared of AMC, is that they are realizing what AMC can do and is about to do. And so that's why we're seeing them flipping from short into long, of course, at least in the public. We don't know about how many synthetics they've created, but then even so, it still showcases just how fearful they are. And the funny thing about this, and extremely ironic, is that this is off the back of recently where we are seeing articles telling people to actually stay away from meme stocks. Now, I've always said we can't associate AMC as a meme stock anymore because of how it's operating. But we do understand what these institutions and news articles mean when they say meme stock. They are obviously including the likes of AMC and GME, despite how well we're doing. And that's their way of trying to obviously put us down. And then you're looking at this from Elon Musk. If they don't exit the short position before Tesla reaches autonomy at scale, they will be obliterated. So we have always seen what Elon Musk's stance on short sellers are. But the reason why I find this extremely interesting and why I'm highlighting this is because of what a company's fundamentals and what a company's goal means against short sellers. The reason why I say this is because Elon Musk realizes and understands is that when Tesla reaches a certain point, what it will do is it will throw away and just destroy any short thesis there is on the stocks. It will attract hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars of investments to the stock, which will then in turn squeezes out and obliterating all these shorts. Now, this can be applied to every single company. When a company has a goal in mind and it reaches a certain point, it becomes undefeatable no matter how many short sellers are trying to bring it down. Because once they reach that certain point, it's essentially saying that this company is operating at the maximum capacity without any chance of reaching bankruptcy, without any chance of losing, and it's only going to grow and grow and grow and increase in value. So there is no reason, there is no incentive for short sellers to even short. And so this is what we talk about with how we can obliterate the short, and it's what AMC has obviously been striving to do. And so this is what we're looking at, and it's very, very important to realize this. And that's why short sellers are panicking, especially when we talk about all the fundamentals that have, of course, been mentioned. And then you see this, when in doubt, zoom out. AMC OBV level is wild. So one of the biggest things, we just talked about how fundamentals essentially keeps investors, in terms of keeps investors on and keep on investing AMC. But another thing is the fact of understanding is that apes have always believed in AMC. What I said at the very start of the video with how apes has always believed in AMC, that has been showcased in the OBV. The fact that the investors who've bought into AMC has never left. We have always believed in AMC. And so this is how we have to understand is that once it reaches that certain point, once we get all of these short sellers to a point where they can't create any more synthetics, you will understand how AMC has that maximum potential. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching this video. I'll catch you guys next time.